Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and today I'm bringing to you the A to Z Makeup Favorites tag. This tag was created by Jen Phelps here on YouTube and I cannot wait to get into it. I have no idea why this eye is so red all of a sudden, but we're going to ignore it and go ahead and say, if you're new here, a very special welcome to you. I hope you will consider subscribing before you leave if you like what you see today. It's free and easy and it helps you find my videos Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday when I upload, and allegedly if you ring that notification bell to all, YouTube will let you know when that happens. So this tag is basically just going all the way through the alphabet. Jen did use each letter as a brand name and a favorite product from that brand. I think I did go ahead and do that for all except for one letter. And then I had a couple of letters that I just had no answers for, specifically X, Y, and Z. So let's go ahead and get started with letter A. So for the letter A, I chose the Opu Juicy Pang Water Blusher, and I have two shades, but this is my favorite shade so far. It is the blush that I have on today, and it's just a really beautiful sort of pinky blush, but it does have a little bit of a golden shimmer to it, which you wouldn't be able to see in this little swatch, but if I hold the bottle up here, you can see that there is definitely some gold pigment in there. I love these. I love the soft watercolor look that it gives to my cheeks. It tends to look a little bit more natural. Oh, there's the golden glow. There it is. But anyways, these are amazing. This is the shade Guava, but I also have this shade Grapefruit, which is a beautiful coral shade. So highly recommend. For the letter B, I chose Bare Minerals Bare Skin Complete Coverage Serum Concealer. I have mine in the shade Light. This is definitely one of my tippy top favorite concealers. Super hydrating, doesn't like sink into fine lines. I mean, all do to some extent, but it's just a really flattering and one of the most hydrating concealers I have tried to date. This is definitely something I will repurchase when I finish this one up because I can't imagine not having this concealer in my collection. It's so forgiving and it is definitely skin-like, so it's definitely lots of definitelys. It's a favorite for me. For the letter C, are you guessing that I picked Charlotte Tilbury? If so, you'd be right. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Starry Eyes to Hypnotize palette. I received this for holiday of 2019 from my hubby as a gift, and I use this all the time, like regularly. It's one of my favorite sort of everyday little palettes to reach for, and one of the reasons is because of these four sort of pre-made trios that you have in the palette. Of course, you can mix in between if you really want to or you have time, but I do really like reaching for this just for the factor of simplicity. It's really beautiful and flattering on the eyes. The only drawback I find with Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadows is that they don't last as long as some eyeshadows do on my eyeballs. D, oddly enough, was the letter that I just didn't have anything from a brand starting with the letter D. Perhaps if I had some Dior makeup in my collection, but I don't. So I did go ahead and choose the ColourPop and Kathleen Light's Dream Street palette. This is definitely a favorite for me, and since I didn't use ColourPop for the letter C, which probably would have been my second choice past Charlotte Tilbury, but this is a favorite for me. I love the neutrals in this palette especially. Of course, I love the pops of blue and this pretty coral right here, but the neutrals in this palette lean a little bit on the warm and rosy side. I find them to be extremely flattering to my skin tone, and this dark brown has got to be one of my favorite dark brown eyeshadows in my collection. Has a little bit of a plum base to it, and it's extremely flattering. You know, if you think about it, brown eyes, purple looks beautiful on brown eyes. Purple looks beautiful on most eyes, but specifically on brown eyes, we hear that. And so that purple undertone with the brown just really is a great color on my eyeballs. And it's just beautiful. I love the different formulas in here, and I absolutely love using this palette. I think it's really unfortunate that it is also D for discontinued. Next, for the letter E, I did choose e.l.f., as I know a lot of people are, but for me, I was like, oh Lord, I know I want to use e.l.f., but how do I choose a favorite? So I decided to kind of switch it up a little bit. Some of you might expect, you know, like the Oil Control Primer Mist or the Matte Putty Primer or something like that. But I actually chose the e.l.f. Bite Size Eyeshadow in the shade Pumpkin Pie. Some of you might remember that my 12-year-old daughter picked this up for me because she had her own money, and that's just who she is. Very giving, very generous. But it just so happens that this shade right here, this bronze shade, is like my perfect bronze eyeshadow, and this formula is insanity. Look at that. That is like liquid metal, and it is so pretty on the eyes. I can't wait to use the rest of the shades a little more come the fall months, especially this copper I think is going to be beautiful, but this is definitely my current favorite product from e.l.f. Cosmetics. For the letter F, I chose Flower Beauty. I could have chosen a lot of different brands for F in retrospect, like Fenty would have been another good one for me, but I did go with Flower Beauty, and for me, my favorite product from Flower Beauty currently is the Petal Pout lipsticks, especially this shade right here, which is Spiced Petal. This is very much a color dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Revolution lipstick in the shade Pillow Talk. So if you've missed out on that, this is definitely a good dupe. In fact, I really like this formula for this color better than the Charlotte Tilbury. Love the Matte Revolution formula, but this is a cream, and for the pinky nude that it is, I just really like this cream formula. It's a longer lasting cream formula in my opinion, unlike some cream lipsticks. And also this works beautifully as a cream blush. But I will also say, honorable mention, love the Flower Beauty blush bombs. I have the shade Pinch, and it is by far one of my favorite liquid or cream blush products. G is for Glossier, in case you were curious, and I chose, of course, the stretch concealers. I have two shades, G9 and G10, and these are just ever so slightly different. They're about the same lightness, if that makes sense, but this has a little bit more yellow to it, and this one, G10, has a little bit more peach to it. Both work beautifully for my skin tone. I love these products for sort of a one and done product. I'll use it under my eyes, I'll use it over the melasma, over my upper lip, I'll use it to spot conceal on my face, or sort of as like a spot foundation, if you will. And it's just a beautiful consistency. I know that this is not everybody's jam, but I really, really love this product for my, you know, aging under eyes and things like that. It's very forgiving formula. I don't find that I have to set it if I don't want to, and there's just nothing negative to say about this product at all. It's just wonderful. I love using it with my fingers. I highly recommend fingers. The warmth of your fingertips will absolutely help you blend this out and help it to become one with the skin. But it also works really well if you're in a hurry and you just want to stick a clean beauty sponge in here and apply it to the under eyes or wherever. Works great like that too. You feel like I'm trying to sell you on the Glossier Stretch Concealer? Because I kind of am. It's really inexpensive too. I find that Glossier is more in that midi range, not quite drugstore prices, but like upper drugstore prices, somewhere around like Pixie, for example. H is for Hourglass, and specifically, I mean, everything from Hourglass I love, but specifically their blush. I just don't think there's a formula out there that compares to the Hourglass blush formula. These are the two little singles that I have, and these are mini blushes, but I also have several in other, like in palettes, in the Ghost Blush Quad, as well as the Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked. But the shades I have here for you today are Diffused Heat and Mood Exposure, which is by far my favorite. I love Mood Exposure. It's absolutely one of my favorite winter blushes to use because it's got that light, soft, plummy pink shade to it. And then, you know, with the ambient lighting powder running through it, when you apply it to the skin, it just looks like you came in from out of the cold. But this shade, Diffused Heat, is equally beautiful. It's a really nice pink that just looks fresh and healthy on the skin, and so I absolutely recommend these. They blend themselves, like literally, and I just can't say enough good things about these. Definitely recommend. If you were going to pick any one product up from Hourglass, I would recommend these. Any color, any shade, just the blushes specifically. I was actually quite a difficult one, and I actually only have one brand in my entire collection that starts with the letter I, and that is Ilia, and this is actually a favorite for me, so I went ahead and included it. It's the Ilia Liquid Light Serum Highlighter. I am wearing it today. You know, keeping in mind that some of the glow comes from the blush, this is a very glowy highlighter. The tiniest little amount goes, oh dear, I just put way too much on there. The teeny tiniest little bit is like, holy moly, like, wow. If you want to be seen from space, you want to call down the aliens or what have you, might get you in trouble with NASA, but this is blinding. I think the easiest way to do this is to put a little on the back of your hand like I did, and then actually pick it up off the back of your hand with the sponge and apply it that way, damp sponge of course, and that tends to work the best with this product. But it is a really beautiful product, and if you're interested in a liquid highlight, and especially if you're into clean beauty, I do recommend the one from Ilia. J is for Juvia's Place, and my absolute favorite palette that I own from Juvia's Place is the Magic Mini palette. I just really like the array of colors in here. I definitely had a pastel itch to scratch this year, as I think a lot of us did, and I think this one offers some really wearable pastel metallics. Oh, just stunning. My favorite shades, I love this light blue one here. This purple duochrome is absolutely stunning, as is this pink one, but the entire palette is absolutely gorgeous. I am never disappointed with any look that I create using this palette. I wish maybe there was just like a couple more kind of like staple neutrals in here, just maybe one more matte neutral would be lovely, but honestly I don't know which one I would take out of here in order to have that, so I love it as it is. It's definitely my favorite from Juvia's Place. K is for Kosis, and my favorite product from Kosis is their Color and Light Creme, and specifically the shade 8th Muse. This is a cream highlight and blush duo, and these are absolutely gorgeous. You can't go wrong with these. You can apply this any way that you like to apply cream products. It works with a sponge, it works with your fingers, it also works with a brush beautifully, and it's not sticky or dewy or going to break down your makeup because it's too emollient. Like, it's just that perfect happy medium of all of the things that you would want in a cream blush or highlighter. This one is absolutely stunning. I recently picked up the Velvet Melon colorway and I am loving that one, but this is definitely a favorite. If you can see the little dips that I have in here, that really says something, especially coming from a blush for me, because I love blush. But these are absolutely amazing, well worth the money to me, and by far my favorite product from Kosis. L is for L'Oreal, and I love a lot of products from L'Oreal. I love their mascaras, I like their lip products. There's a lot that I love from L'Oreal, but if you've been around on my channel for any amount of time, you've probably heard me rant and rave over the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It in the shade Light. I wonder if I get really close. Yeah, you can start to see the waffle pattern on the pan coming through here because I have used this an absolute ton. This is the bronzer I'm wearing today. It's absolutely flawless in my opinion. There's nothing, this bronzer can do nothing wrong for me. It's beautiful. It's luminous, but it is not what I would call glowy or shimmery or anything like that. It's just perfect. It glides on the skin, it blends itself. If you have another bronzer that may be stuck in a weird place because you didn't set your face or whatever the case is, it's just a little patchy. Sometimes matte bronzers are. This one will fix it in a hurry. You just lightly dust over the top of the existing bronzer with this bronzer and your makeup day is saved, I promise you. So I really love this. I never in a million years thought the shade Light would work for me, but this one absolutely does. Warms up the skin beautifully and just becomes one with your skin. M is for MAC Cosmetics, and I love quite a few things from MAC, but my current favorite product from MAC, other than the Glow Play blush, which I've talked a lot about lately, so I decided to go with something different. But this is definitely another product in a different category that I love, and it is the MAC Extra Dimension Skin Finish in the shade Double Gleam. This was a recommendation from Arnell Elaine as well as Jessica Braun. This is again like another See Me from Space highlighter, but it's not unflattering. I feel like so many times when we end up with these really glowy, gleaming highlights, they can emphasize the texture or the pores and things like that on your face. This does not do any of those things. It might just as well be a cream highlight, the way that it blends and behaves on the skin. So I really love this. I would have to say of the few MAC highlighters that I've tried, this Extra Dimension Skin Finish formula is my favorite by far. I just absolutely love this. If I didn't already have so much glow on my face, I would demonstrate, but let me know if you want to see it in a video soon and I will make sure to include it. I don't think anybody will be surprised that for N I chose Natasha Denona, but picking a specific Natasha Denona favorite was difficult. But if you watch my recent ranking my Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes video, which I'll link for you up here in the eye and down in the description box below, my favorite product from Natasha Denona currently is the Mini Retro palette, or as I like to call it, the Mini Kyra palette. Please, 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 if you know Natasha Denona, because I know she's not watching this one, we want a midi-sized palette in this color story, okay? I love green and pink together, but these are just like the perfect fun pink and green shades that are just unique, and that's what I love. This shade Galaxia, which is in her Chroma Crystal, is that what it is? Yes, in her Chroma Crystal, so it's like a topper formula, very glittery. It's like an opal. It's like what the inside of an opal looks like, and I love opal. It's my favorite stone, and so I just love this palette. I know some people, you know, will say that it's like more gray than green, but I definitely think it's green in my opinion, and I love pink and green together. I love NATASHA DENONA, and this is my favorite product. O is for OFRA, no surprise there. But I think some people would expect me to maybe insert here like one of the products from the Samantha March collaboration. This is a favorite from Samantha March, but it is not a part of her collection, and it is the lip gloss in the shade Cherry Mocha. That is the color that I have on my lips today, along with a lip liner. And to be honest, I've been wearing this for like the last 3 days. It's a really pretty color. It goes perfectly with some of my favorite lip liners. It's just a fun, fresh, sort of more subtle summer lip color for me. And I've been loving it. I love this formula. It's actually nourishing. There's nothing sticky about it. I really feel like even though when I apply it, it appears to kind of sit on top of the skin of my lips. That's weird to say it that way. It does eventually become homogeneous with my lip color and everything, and I just really like this. I wonder though if there's not as much product in here as one would think, because I have not used this a ton, and I was already seeing evident windows in this packaging yesterday, so I don't know, but this is definitely a favorite. Does anyone want to guess what brand I picked for P? I'll wait for it. Just kidding. It's Persona, duh. And of course, I'm going to mention the Persona Identity palettes. The first Identity palette is and has been an all-time favorite for me since I purchased it. I didn't get it right upon its release. I was kind of new to YouTube and whatnot, but it is definitely a favorite. It's a go-to, but I also really love Identity 2. Admittedly, I haven't gotten to use it as much as I would love, but that's pretty much the story with most of my eyeshadow palettes, unless I've had them for a long time. I didn't grab this one upon the launch because I just wasn't for sure if I really wanted it because of the color story and because I would use it, or if I wanted it because it's Persona and I love the first palette so much. So I did wait on this one for quite some time, but I have it in my collection now and I absolutely adore it. I will link up in the cards or in the description box, one of the two, a video that I did with both of these palettes. I did 7 looks, 2 palettes with these 2 palettes together, and I had a blast. And if you have both of these, you might enjoy that video. I didn't have anything for the letter Q. I don't know if any of you do. I did kind of look on Ulta and Sephora. You can shop by brand name on there, and I did go ahead and look up, and I didn't see any brands that I had from the letter Q, so we're gonna pass on that one. But for the letter R, I had started to write something else down, and I don't know. I think I started to write something else down, and my daughter was out there while I was prepping, like out there with me in my living room while I was prepping this video last night, and she was like, "Oh, I thought you would pick Rimmel." And I was like, "Oh yeah, Rimmel Stay Glossy Lip Gloss, fabulous formula, but I specifically love this shade, Blushing Belgraves. I really like it as a highlighting shade, like that. Oh, so pretty. And these are so stinking cheap. I think, what was the, there was a tag recently, it was like, I think it was the Drugstore Makeup TAG, also by Jen Phelps. I'll link that down below. But it asked, what was your favorite makeup product under $5? And for me, it's this. I love this formula. It's so comfortable. It's not at all sticky, but it's a little thicker and more hydrating than the OFRA gloss, so I don't think you could lose. And especially if you're looking for a light shade like this one and Blushing Belgraves to highlight, wear over lip liner, wear over darker lip shades to make your collection more versatile, highly recommend. So for S, I had originally written down like about a Sephora powder, but then I was doing my skincare after having prepped this video last night, and it dawned on me, and that is the Smashbox Cali Contour Palette. Oh my goodness. I love this palette. Love, 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 love. You have a mattifying powder here that's really brightening, and I like it for setting my T-zone sometimes. You have a contour shade and a bronzer shade. I also like to mix them together when I'm at my palest because it creates a little bit more of a neutral bronze. And then you also have this really beautiful blush. It works beautifully with most looks because it has that rosiness, but it also has warmth. And it's just a beautiful, you know, kind of everyday blush shade, as well as these two highlighters here. This highlighter is legitimately one of my favorites in my collection. It's just such a pretty, like, subtle glow from within, but it's a champagne, and I don't know, it's just good, good, good. I like to mix these together sometimes for a highlight, but the other thing I really like is dipping into this before I dip into the bronzer and just give a little bit of a more luminous bronze effect to my skin. So there's a lot that you can do with this palette. Of course, you can do it on the eyes, or use it on the eyes rather, as well. But this is probably one of my most reached for face palettes in my collection, and definitely my favorite from Smashbox. T is for Touch in Soul, and it's not going to be any of the products that you would expect because this is something that I never hear anybody talk about on YouTube except Sarah Hubler, whose channel I originally saw this product on. And it's the Touch in Soul Metalist Sparkling Foiled Pigment. I have mine in the shade Hollow Mulberry, which is the shade I saw on Sarah Hubler's channel. It's definitely got like a plummy base, but then it has a beautiful aqua turquoise type shift to it. It's so pretty, it literally makes me sick. Not really, but seriously. It's so pretty, and it looks absolutely stunning on the eyes. Camera definitely does not do it justice, but it's insanely beautiful. Definitely one of my favorite singles that I own, and I don't own very many, admittedly, but it's stunning. It's absolutely gorgeous. This one's probably right up there with my Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize cream shadow, which I use constantly, but I love this shade. I need to use it on my eyeballs soon. For the letter U, it's none other than Urban Decay, and this is my most recent purchase from Urban Decay, and it is the Ultraviolet palette. I love this. I'm not for sure why this had such polarizing reviews, but I really, really love this palette. I will link up in the cards or down in the description box, or both, I believe I did 4 looks 1 palette with this one, and I will link that in case you do have this and you want some inspiration, or, you know, whatever. It'll be down there for you. But this is beautiful. I love the array of purples. I love this aqua shade in the middle, but I really also love the neutrals in this palette. They're just really good neutrals. This shade right here, which is Hacked, yes, this like rosy shade, literally like my perfect transition shade for almost any look I could create. I think there's some really unique textures and shades in here that you don't necessarily see how cool they are until you get them on the eyes. So this is by far my favorite from Urban Decay, and it also redeemed the whole Naked palette idea for me, because the Naked 3 was a big fail. Big fail. For the letter V, I picked Violet Voss, and I love the Violet Voss eyeshadow formula. So my favorite thing from Violet Voss is the Flamingo palette. This palette is limited edition, but it is still available like 2 years later, and this is what it looks like. I don't know why, other than I buy too much, that I haven't pulled this out yet this summer, but I am going to do a look with this soon. Let me know if there's some capacity that you would like to see this on my channel soon. but I just love everything about this. There's some really unique like duochrome shades in this palette. You've got some staple neutrals over here, and the formula just cannot be beat in my mind for this type of palette. The shimmers are very smooth, the mattes are very blendable. You have a nice range of mattes in here from light to dark, and I'm so glad that I got this palette back when I did, and I love it still. For W, I did choose Wet n Wild, even though I'm not necessarily supporting the brand. I cannot tell a lie, you know? Wet n Wild Kohl eyeliner in the shade Simba Brown. Now, this is my perfect brown eyeliner. I picked this up on recommendation from Mandy Lee here on YouTube, and I won't go back. Like, I have this one, and then I have the highliner from Marc Jacobs also in brown, and I reach for this one every time. I might just as well get rid of this thing before it dries out, as in pass it along to somebody that might use it, because this is the one I want. This one is very, very easy to use. I do have it just as the little bit of depth. I did tight line a little bit with it, as well as bring it onto the lower lash line a little bit today. I love it. This is the thing that got me using pencil eyeliner for the first time ever in my life. I wasn't allowed to wear eyeliner when I was growing up, so it's just one of those things or habits or routines that I never picked up, even when I first started YouTube. And then I tried this one, and it was like the heavens opened and the angels sang and the whole thing. So I do really love that. If you have a similar product that you would like to recommend to that one, because I do really not want to purchase from Wet n Wild anymore because of their business practices, and most of all, not being honest with their customers about their cruelty-free status. I myself am not cruelty-free, but I do take issue with people who are not honest in their business practices, and for that reason I would like to purchase something else when I'm done with that one. And like I said at the beginning, I don't have any brands that start with X, Y, or Z, or really any products that I could determine. I do have a full inventory of all of my makeup, so I was able to go through and look and, you know, really visualize what I had for what letters. But with all of that said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to see more people do this tag. I'm not going to tag anybody specifically because I don't want to put any pressure on anyone to film anything that they don't want to, but if you are a creator and you are interested in filming this tag, I tag you. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, you could give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either really helps me out on the platform, helps me to get suggested so that we can all make new friends down in the comments. And I hope you're staying safe and well right now. I know things are ramping up again here in our country, and I just really hope that you're all being very safe in your lives and that you're staying healthy. And I also hope all of your makeup days are beautiful makeup days, and I will see you in my next video real soon. Hopefully not with a red eye.